Welcome to Cozy Dream Tales, where every story is a journey into a world of warmth and wonder. As you embark on this adventure with us, you'll find yourself immersed in the gentle embrace of soothing narratives and tranquil landscapes. Here, time slows down to a dreamlike pace, allowing you to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life and enter a realm of serenity. Whether it's the whisper of leaves in the breeze or the soft glow of moonlight dancing on the water, each moment is filled with magic and tranquility. Join us as we weave tales of enchantment and whimsy, transporting you to distant lands and enchanted realms. So snuggle up under your coziest blanket and prepare to be swept away on a journey of imagination and relaxation. Welcome to Cozy Dream Tales, where dreams come to life. The Golden Touch, a modern Midas tale. Chapter 1: The Golden Curse. In the heart of a bustling city, amidst the chaos of everyday life, Alex lived a life indistinguishable from any other teenagers. Their world was one of endless possibilities, yet constrained by the boundaries of adolescence. School, with its myriad challenges and fleeting joys, friends who were as unpredictable as the weather, and a family life that was loving yet sometimes suffocating, composed the mosaic of Alex's existence. One ordinary day, which began with the sun lazily climbing into the sky and casting a golden hue over the city, Alex's life was to take a turn towards the extraordinary. It was on this day that a package, nondescript and wrapped with care, found its way to Alex's doorstep. Inside was a ring ancient and ornate, as if whisperings of old. Accompanying it was a note written in a hand that spoke of a bygone era. To the heir of Midas, may this gift bring you the wisdom to wield its power. The family gathered, puzzled over the ring's origin and the meaning of the note. None could recall a relative or ancestor who might have sent such a peculiar heirloom. Alex, intrigued by the mystery and drawn to the ring's undeniable allure, decided to wear it. That night, under a moon that seemed to cast an approving glance, Alex felt a surge of energy emanating from the ring. It was a sensation that was at once exhilarating and slightly foreboding. The world seemed to pause, holding its breath as if awaiting the unfolding of an ancient prophecy. The following morning, Alex awoke to find the sunlight streaming through the window, painting everything it touched with a vibrant glow. It was a day like any other, yet Alex felt an inexplicable sense of anticipation, as if something momentous was about to happen. The realization came not with a thunderous revelation, but with a touch. As Alex reached for the door handle, it transformed before their eyes, from cold metal to gleaming gold. Shocked, Alex withdrew their hand, staring in disbelief at the golden handle, which now sparkled with a mesmerizing light. The power of the Golden Touch, as wondrous as it was terrifying, revealed itself gradually. A glass turned to gold, a book, and then a chair. Each object Alex touched with a bare hand transformed, adopting the luster and weight of pure gold. Joy and wonder filled Alex's heart. The possibilities seemed endless. Could this be the solution to so many problems? The debts that weigh your family, the dreams that seemed forever out of reach. Now the Golden Touch turned them all to reality. Yet, even as Alex marveled at this newfound power, a shadow of doubt crept in. A power so great came with a price, a lesson that countless tales and myths had warned of. But in the euphoria of the moment, those warnings were like whispers lost in the wind. The initial shock of the golden touch soon gave way to a whirlwind of excitement for Alex. The mundane corridors of their life had transformed overnight into avenues of shimmering possibilities. With each touch, objects of little value turned into treasures, casting a golden glow that seemed to promise an end to all worries. Alex experimented with this power in secret, turning small, inconsequential items into gold. A pen, a coin, an old wiswimage, all metamorphosed under Alex's touch, each transformation more thrilling than the last. A weight of gold, both literal and metaphorical, began to fill Alex's room, each piece a testament to a power that felt miraculous. In the safety of solitude, dreams began to take shape. Dreams of paying off the family's debts, of securing a future so bright it outshone even the luster of gold. Alex imagined the joy in their parents' eyes, the relief from burdens long carried, all within reach with just a touch. Yet, this joy was a solitary affair. It sank with each passing day. The excitement was tinged with the growing realization of the isolation that such power brought. How could Alex explain the source of the gold without revealing the curse? How could they share this joy without risking the loss of everything dear? The world outside the golden glow of Alex's room remained unchanged, oblivious to the miracle of the curse that had entered their life. Friends laughed and complained about trivial matters. Family life continued with its comforting routines, and the world spun on, unaware of the magic that had brushed against it. In this bubble of gold and secrecy, Alex lived a double life, one afoot in a world of endless possibilities, and the other in a reality that felt increasingly distant. The juggle of gold, as intoxicating as it was, began to reveal its true nature, a gleaming facade hiding a labyrinth of solitude and fear. The days that followed were a blend of fascination and fear as Alex navigated the complexities of their new reality. The golden touch, once a source of wonder, began to reveal its darker facets, weaving a tapestry of joy and sorrow with threads of gold. It was on a seemingly ordinary afternoon, with the sun casting long shadows across the room, that the first true sign of trouble emerged. In a moment of absent-minded affection, Alex reached out to pet their beloved dog, Max, who had always been a source of comfort and joy. The transformation was instantaneous. A golden statue stood where Max once wagged his tail, a look of eternal anticipation frozen on his face. The horror of the moment crashed into Alex like a tidal wave, washing away the initial euphoria of the golden touch. Max, a companion through highs and lows, was now a golden monument to Alex's curse. The weight of the realization was powering. This power could not discern between the inanimate and the living, between the meaningless and the irreplaceable. Gray strain. Alex recoiled from the world, retreating into a shell of guilt and despair. The room, once a sanctuary of dreams, now felt like a mausoleum. Each golden object a reminder of the cost of their desires. The laughter and complaints of friends, the daily rhythms of family life, all seemed distant echoes in a world that had shifted on its axis. The incident with Max marked a turning point for Alex. The golden touch was no longer a secret to be guarded with a mix of pride and excitement, but a curse to be borne with fear and shame. The need to hide this terrible power became paramount, casting a shadow over every interaction, every touch, every moment of connection. As the days passed, Alex grappled with the isolation imposed by the curse. Touch, the most basic form of human connection, had become a weapon of destruction. The longing for normalcy, for a life unmarred by golden chains, grew with each passing day. But the path back to that life, if it existed at all, was shrouded in mystery and fear. The joy of gold had turned to ash, leaving Alex to navigate the ruins of a wish granted with too heavy a price. The realization that something precious had been lost in the pursuit of dreams was a bitter pill to swallow, a lesson learned in the harshest of ways. The curse of Midas, once a myth, had become a stark reality, a reminder that some gifts come with costs far beyond their apparent value. In the days that followed the transformation of Max, Alex found themselves ensnared in a web of their own making, each thread a shimmering golden strand that seemed to mock their despair. The weight of the curse pressed down with an unbearable heaviness, a constant reminder of the irrevocable loss and the dangerous power that lay in the simplest act of touch. Driven by a desperate need to prevent further harm, Alex began to devise ways to navigate their world without making physical contact. Gloves became their constant companions, a thin barrier between their cursed touch and the world they so feared to transform. Every object, every person now carried the potential for disaster, transforming everyday interactions into a minefield that Alex navigated with painstaking care. The isolation wrought by the curse deepened, a chasm that separated Alex from the warmth of human connection. Conversations were had at a distance, hugs replaced by hesitant waves, the physical expressions of affection and friendship now fraught with peril. The once comforting presence of family became a source of anxiety, each shared space a stage for potential tragedy. In the quiet of their room, surrounded by the gilded trophies of their curse, Alex sought solace in the quest for answers. The internet, with its vast repository of knowledge and tales, became both a haven and a hunting ground. Legends of Midas and his golden touch were dissected, ancient myths examined for a hint, a clue, anything that might lead to a reversal of their fate. The search was exhaustive, a relentless pursuit of hope amidst a sea of despair. Stories of cure and reversals, of ancient rituals and forgotten magics, flickered across the screen, each a beacon that flickered and died under the scrutiny of desperation. Yet, in the depths of this quest, amidst the tales of gods and mortals, a pattern began to emerge, a thread of possibility woven into the fabric of myth. Secrets, it seemed, lay buried not only in the digital realm, but in the tangible world of old books and forgotten lore. The library, with its dusty shelves and air of solemnity, became next battlefield in Alex's war against the curse. There, amidst the quiet rustle of pages and the whispered secrets of ages past, Alex found a sliver of hope, a tale of redemption, a possibility of reversal hidden in the ancient texts. The lore of Midas, it turned out, was more than just a cautionary tale. It was a map to salvation, a guide to breaking the curse that had turned a dream into a nightmare. The details were vague, shrouded in the mists of time, but the essence was clear: the curse could be broken. But the path to redemption was fraught with challenges, a journey that would test the very limits of courage and resolve. Buoyed by this discovery, Alex's despair gave way to a flicker of determination. The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with dangers both known and unknown, but the chance to reclaim their life, to undo the harm wrought by the golden touch, was a beacon that guided them forward. In the silence of the library, amid the echoes of countless stories, Alex resolved to embark on this quest, to seek the end of the curse that had brought so much joy and yet so much sorrow. With determination lighting the path ahead, Alex embarked on a journey to untangle the mysteries of the Golden Curse. The quest for knowledge led them to ancient texts and obscure scholars, to the whispered legends of those who had once brushed against the edges of myth and emerged forever changed. In a small shadow-filled room of the city's oldest library, a breakthrough awaited. Buried beneath layers of dust and neglect, a tome that whispered of ancient curses and the undoing revealed itself to Alex. The book, bound in leather that seemed to pulse with a life of its own, contained the account of a scholar who had dedicated their life to studying the curse of Midas. As Alex pored over the faded pages, the words seemed to dance and move into a narrative that mirrored their own, a tale of greed, of unintended consequences, and of a desperate search for redemption. It spoke of Midas not as the figure of legend, but as a man ensnared by his desires, and it hinted at a path to salvation, a ritual steeped in humility and sacrifice that could reverse the golden touch. The key, it seemed, lay in acknowledging the curse not as a gift, but as a burden, a reflection of one's own failings and desires. True repentance, a willingness to relinquish the power and to face the consequences of one's actions, was at the heart of the ritual. It was a path that demanded courage, for it required confronting the very essence of the curse and the darkness within oneself. Armed with this knowledge, Alex felt a mix of hope and trepidation. The path to breaking the curse was fraught with uncertainty, demanding a journey both inward and outward. It required finding the ancient artifacts mentioned in the tome, relics imbued with the power to channel the rich one's magic. But it also necessitated a confrontation with the self, a reckoning with the desires and fears that had led to this moment. A realization that the curse was as much about personal transformation as it was about magical reversal was a turning point for Alex. The golden touch, a metaphor for the unchecked desires and consequences of one's actions, demanded a response rooted in growth and understanding. To break the curse was to transcend it, to learn from it, and to emerge not just free from its grasp, but fundamentally changed. With the secrets unveiled and the path laid bare, Alex stood at the precipice of a journey that would test the limits of the resolve. Her road ahead was shadowed and uncertain, leading through forgotten ruins and into the depths of the self. Yet, the promise of liberation, of a return to a life untainted by gold, was a beacon that guided them forward. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the library's ancient floors, Alex clung with a sense of solemnity and purpose. The journey to break the curse of Midas, to reclaim their life, and to restore what had been lost, was about to begin. With the weight of the secrets unveiled heavy on their shoulders, Alex stepped out into the fading light, the last rays of the sun casting their silhouette in gold, a symbol of the curse they bore and the redemption they sought. Chapter 2. The weight of gold as the days melted into one another, each touched by the golden curse, Alex's life underwent a profound where once there was a carefree teenager whose concerns revolved around school, friends, and the future, Anna, solitary figure, burdened by a power that demanded isolation as its price. The once comforting presence of touch, a simple handshake, the warmth of a hug, the casual brush of shoulders in crowded hallways had become relics of a life now out of reach. Alex moved through the world like a ghost, present but apart, always mindful of the barrier that the gloves represented. Not just a physical barrier between skin and the world, but a barrier between Alex and the rest of humanity. This new existence was marked by a silence, but was not just physical but deeply emotional. Conversations with friends grew strained, the easy laughter and shared confidences replaced by awkward pauses and unasked questions. Alex's family, once a source of unwavering support, now tread carefully around him, a mixture of concern and misunderstanding shadowing their interactions. The weight of the secret Alex carried turned home into a gilded cage, beautiful yet confining. The transformation extended beyond the realm of personal relationships. Every object, every living thing held the potential to add to the burden Alex carried. The world was vibrant and inviting. Mine felt like a minefield, each step fraught with the risk of revealing the curse to those not ready to understand or accept it. In moments of solitude, Alex grappled with the realization that the golden touch had not just altered their relationship with the world, but had changed them at a fundamental level. The innocence of youth, the belief in endless possibilities, had been replaced by a wisdom born of loss, and a sense of responsibility for a power that was both a gift and a curse. The isolation was not just physical, but deeply existential. Alex pondered the nature of their curse, realizing that it was not just about the physical transformation of objects into gold, but about the transformative effect of power and isolation on the human soul. The golden touch had become a metaphor for the barriers that people erect between themselves and others, whether out of fear of misunderstanding or the desire to protect. In this new reality, Alex found a strange kind of freedom. Freedom from the superficial desires that once seemed so important, but also a freedom to see the world in a new light, to understand the true value of connection, of touch. Yet, this transformation was not without its moments of despair. A longing for normalcy, for the ability to love without fear of causing harm, gnawed at Alex's heart. The realization that this curse could be permanent, that they might never again experience the simple joy of human contact without the intermediary of gloves or barriers, was a source of deep sadness. Within this crucible of isolation and transformation, a resolve began to take shape. Alex understood that the path to breaking the curse was not just about finding a way to rid themselves of the golden touch, but about understanding the reasons behind it, about confronting the parts of themselves that needed to change. As the sun set on another day marked by the golden curse, Alex looked at the world with eyes that saw beyond the surface, understanding that the journey ahead was not just about breaking a curse, but about rediscovering what it means to be dreaming human. The weight of gold, heavy though it was, had begun to forge a strength and determination within Alex, a determination to reclaim their life, not just for themselves, but for Love is touched by the curse of isolation and hope. In the heart of a world turned golden, where every touch bore the weight of a curse, Alex found themselves adrift in an ocean of isolation. The golden touch, a barrier invisible yet impenetrable, had erected walls between Alex and the life they once knew. Friends, once the anchors of Alex's world, now floated like distant ships on the horizon, their laughter and camaraderie echoing across a sea of unbridgeable distance. The avoidance of physical contact, a necessity born of fear and responsibility, became the chasm that separated Alex from the warmth of human connection. Conversations with friends, once lively and filled with the easy touch of camaraderie, now took place within the confines of a self-imposed exile. The shared moments of joy, the comforting embrace of family, the casual high-fives and hugs that marked the bonds of friendship, all became relics of a life before the curse. The more Alex retreated, the wider the gap grew. Friends, puzzled and hurt by Alex's sudden withdrawal, gradually ceased their attempts to bridge the distance. Invitations dwindled and stopped. Social media, once a window into the lives of peers, became a mirror reflecting Alex's isolation. A stream of images and updates from a world that felt increasingly alien. Family, too, felt the strain of the curse. Meals, once times of connection and shared stories, became silent affairs, marked by the yanking of cutlery and the unspoken questions hanging in the air. Alex's parents, wrapped in their own concerns, in the mystery of their child's withdrawal, tread lightly around the subject, their once direct gazes now laden with confusion and concern. In the solitude of their room, surrounded by objects that gleamed with a mocking luster, Alex wrestled with the loneliness that clung like a shadow. The craving for normalcy, for a return to a life unmarred by the golden touch, was a hunger that gnawed incessantly at their heart. Memories of laughter, of touch, of connection, played like scenes from a mother's life, a reminder of all that had been lost to the curse. Yet, in the depths of isolation, a transformation began. Alex, once defined by relationships and external validations, now faced the daunting task of finding worth within. The silence, once oppressive, became a canvas for introspection, a space where Alex could confront the fears, the desires, and the insecurities that the golden touch had magnified. It was in this solitude that Alex discovered resilience, the strength that had lain dormant, awaiting the trials of the curse to awaken it. A longing for connection rather than a weakness became a beacon, guiding Alex towards the understanding that the first steps to breaking the curse lay not in seeking external solutions, but in reconciling with the self. The isolation, while a prison, also served as a crucible, forging within Alex a determination to reclaim a life, not just for the sake of returning to the past, but to build a future where the curse could be a chapter, not the entirety, their sturdy. This resolve, born from the depths of solitude, became the light that pierced the darkness of isolation, a signal that, even in the most profound loneliness, hope remained alive, waiting to be kindled. As the moon cast its silver light through the window, bathing the golden objects in a glow that softened their edges, Alex looked towards the night sky. In the constellations, they saw not just the immensity of the universe, but a reflection of their own journey, a reminder that even the most distant stars were connected by invisible threads. The isolation, though a formidable adversary, was but a chapter in a larger story, a story that Alex was only beginning to write. In the midst of the life overshadowed by the golden touch, Alex's existence became a paradox, a world where every golden gleam was a reminder not of wealth, but of a profound loss. The very essence of the curse transformed their surroundings into a gilded cage, a prison wrought by their own hands, where every accidental transformation was a bar that further enclosed them. The objects in Alex's room, not mundane and familiar, now stood as silent sentiments, each gleaming surface a testament to moments of forgetfulness or despair. A book that would never again be opened, its pages forever sealed in gold, a fertile frame that captured a moment in time, its warmth obscured by metallic sheen. Brilliantly were the artifacts of Alex's imprisonment, where by the curse. This golden prison extended beyond the physical. It was a realm of what-ifs and what could haves, where every casual touch, every moment of forgetfulness, added to the weight of isolation. The joy of creating, of interacting with the world through the simple act of touch, had been stolen by the curse, replaced by a constant vigilance that drained the color from life, even behind a monochrome wall gilded in gold. Alex's days became exercises in avoidance, each movement calculated, every interaction weighed for its potential to add another link to their chains. The world outside, with its endless possibilities for accidental transformation, became a landscape fraught with danger. The handshake, the feel of grass under fruit, the touch of rain on skin, its brain, once taken for granted, now loomed as threats, each capable of expanding the boundaries of the golden prison. The tears' toll of happiness was insidious. Joy, when it came, was tempered by the knowledge of its fragility, a fleeting sensation that could be shattered by a moment's inattention. Laughter was muted, its echoes teemed with the metallic resonance of gold. Even the victories, the moments when Alex successfully navigated the day without adding to the gilded collection, were hollow, overshadowed by the exhaustion of constant vigilance. In the silence of the night, when the world retreated and left Alex alone with their thoughts, the golden prison felt most constricting. The darkness was filled with the ghosts of a life before the curse, a chorus of memories that whispered of freedom, of careless joy, and of a touch unmarred by gold. It was in with what was lost that the true nature of the prison revealed itself, not as a physical space, but as a confinement of the soul, a restriction on the very essence of what it meant to live freely. Yet, within this prison, a transformation was taking place. The walls, though imposing, served also as a crucible, a space where the true value of freedom, of connection, and of happiness was distilled from the alloy of experience. The curse, for all its power to isolate and to bind, also illuminated the intrinsic worth of the intangible, the priceless nature of the moments and memories that gold could never replicate. Alex, in confronting the confines of the golden prison, began to understand that breaking free was not just a matter of reversing the curse, but of redefining the parameters of their own existence. The journey to liberation was not one of escape, but of transformation. A journey that required not only the courage to seek a way out, but the wisdom to recognize the lessons carved into the walls of the prison. As dawn broke, casting a light that turned the golden surfaces in the room to fire, Alex faced the new day with a resolve tempered in the depths of the night. The golden prison, with its bars of loss and its shadows of what could have been, would not define them. The path to freedom, though fraught with uncertainty, was a journey worth taking. For the true measure of wealth lay not in the gleam of gold, but in the freedom to live, to love, and to touch the world in a myriad of ways that the curse could never constrain. In the shadow of the golden prison, Alex's despair became the catalyst for a journey that would span the bridge between myth and reality. The quest for a cure, a beacon of hope in the darkness of the curse, propelled Alex into the realms of the ancient and the arcane, where legends whispered secrets, and the line between the possible and the impossible blurred. The first steps of this quest led Alex to the vast, echoing halls of the city's oldest library, a labyrinth of knowledge where the air was thick with the scent of aged paper and whispered incantations of long-forgotten lore. Here, amidst the dust motes that danced in shafts of light, Alex delved into the world of ancient texts, scrolls, and manuscripts. Each page turned a step deeper into the mysteries of the past. The myths of Midas, once mere stories, became lifelines, threads that Alex clung to in the hope of finding a way back to a life untouched by gold. The ancient texts spoke of gods and humans, of curses bestowed and lifted, of trials faced by mortals who dared to challenge the fates. In these tales, Alex sought not just the history of the Golden Touch, but clues to its undoing, a formula hidden in allegory and metaphor. As the search deepened, Alex turned to experts in mythology and the supernatural, scholars who had spent their lives navigating the shadowy waters of the unexplained. These encounters, held in cluttered offices filled with relics and artifacts, were exchanges of knowledge where Alex's desperate quest met the skepticism and curiosity of those who had seen too much to dismiss the impossible outright. Each expert offered a piece of the puzzle, a perspective that illuminated the curse from a different angle. There were theories of alchemical transmutation, of divine retribution and redemption, of psychological manifestations of guilt and desire. Some spoke of the curse as a metaphor, a reflection of human greed and its consequences, while others believed in the literal power of ancient magic to alter the fabric of reality. The quest for answers was a journey through a landscape rich with contradiction and mystery, where hope flickered like a candle in the wind. Alex's desperation lent urgency to the search, a driving force that pushed beyond the boundaries of skepticism and belief. The more they learned, the more the realization grew that the key to breaking the curse lay not just in ancient rituals or forgotten spells, but in understanding the essence of the power they wielded. It was in the depths of this search that Alex encountered the concept of balance. The idea that the curse, like all magic, was bound by laws of give and take, of action and consequence. This notion, echoed in various forms across different cultures and texts, suggested that the reversal of the curse required a sacrifice, a willingness to relinquish the golden touch in exchange for something of equal value, something that Alex had yet to understand. Armed with this knowledge, Alex emerged from the search with a new sense of purpose. The answers they sought were not to be found solely in the external world of texts and experts, but within themselves, in the understanding of the curse as a reflection of their own desires and fears. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the library's ancient floors, Alex stood at the crossroads of myth and reality, armed with the fragments of knowledge gathered from the quest. The path to breaking the curse was becoming clearer, a journey that would require not just the wisdom of the past, but the courage to confront the present, to face the consequences of their actions, and to make the sacrifices necessary for liberation. The search for answers, while not yielding a simple solution, had ignited a spark of hope, a belief that the curse could be broken, that the golden prison was not impregnable. With this newfound resolve, Alex stepped out into the twilight, the pieces of the puzzle held close, ready to embark on the next phase of the journey, where ancient lore and personal revelation would converge to offer a chance at redemption. In the midst of Alex's quest, a chance encounter paved the way for a turning point in their journey. It was in a crowded, dimly lit antique bookstore, nestled between towering shelves laden with relics of the past, that Alex met Jamie. With hair as wild as their spirit and eyes alight with the thrill of discovery, Jamie was a historian whose life danced on the edges of the known and the mysterious. Their passion for ancient curses and myths made them a beacon in the shadowy realm of the unexplained, a guide through the mists of legend and lore. Jamie, sensing a kindred spirit in the solitary figure of Alex, approached with an openness that was both disarming and genuine. Their conversation, sparked by a shared interest in a rare tome on ancient rituals, quickly veered into the realm of the personal. Alex, guarded yet drawn to Jamie's unguarded curiosity, found themselves revealing more about their quest than they had intended. As the tale of the Golden Touch unfolded, Jamie listened with a rapt attention that bordered on reverence. Here was a living embodiment of the myths that had fueled their studies, a person cursed with a power that was the stuff of legends. Far from disbelief, Jamie's reaction was one of fascination and an immediate desire to help. Their knowledge of ancient myths and curses, once academic, had found a purpose in the quest to reverse Alex's curse. Jamie became an unexpected ally, their enthusiasm and expertise breathing new life into Alex's faltering spirits. Together, they delved into texts, both ancient and obscure, Jamie's insight illuminating paths that Alex had overlooked. Their partnership, forged in the pursuit of knowledge, blossomed into a camaraderie that lightened the burden of the curse. Jamie's fearlessness in the face of the unknown was infectious. Where Alex had been cautious, Jamie was bold, challenging assumptions and pushing boundaries in the search for answers. Their approach to the curse was not as a burden to be borne alone, but as a puzzle to be solved together, a mystery that held the promise of discovery and redemption. This alliance brought a shift in Alex's journey. No longer a solitary quest, it had become a shared adventure, a journey that bridged the gap between past and present, myth and reality. Jamie, with their boundless curiosity and unwavering support, became the mirror that reflected Alex's strength and determination, a reminder that even in the face of ancient curses, one was not alone. The duo's exploration led them deeper into the lore of Midas, uncovering connections and insights that had once seemed beyond reach. Jamie's perspective, rooted in a deep understanding of the power of myth to reflect human truths, provided a new lens through which Alex could view the curse. Together, they pieced together the fragments of legend, each discovery a step closer to the heart of the mystery. As the days turned into weeks, Alex and Jamie's partnership grew into a bond that transcended the quest. In Jamie, Alex found not just an ally, but a friend who saw beyond the curse, who recognized the person beneath the burden of gold. Their laughter, shared in moments of respite, became a light in the darkness, a beacon of hope in the quest for freedom. The unexpected alliance with Jamie marked a turning point in Alex's journey. No longer a solitary fight against an implacable curse, it had become a shared quest for understanding and liberation. Together, they stood on the threshold of discovery, ready to face the trials ahead, united by a bond forged in the pursuit of a cure, and strengthened by the shared belief in the possibility of breaking the chains of the golden touch. In the sanctity of an ancient library, where the whispers of the past seemed to cling to the air, Alex and Jamie stood shoulder to shoulder, their gazes locked on a fragile parchment that lay open on the table before them. The document, as old as the legends it spoke of, contained the lore of Midas, a tale of greed, of a blessing turned curse, and of a king's desperate quest for redemption. It was within these ancient words that Alex and Jamie found the first true glimmer of hope, a path that could lead to the reversal of the golden touch. The parchment spoke of an artifact, a chalice believed to have been blessed by Dionysus himself, the god who had granted Midas his fateful wish. This chalice, lost to the sands of time, held the power to reverse the gifts bestowed by the gods. It was not just a vessel of physical form, but a symbol of understanding and transformation, a key to unlocking the curse that had bound Midas, and now Alex, to a golden fate. The lore was clear. To find the chalice was to embark on a journey fraught with peril, a quest that would test the limits of their courage and resolve. It was hidden in a place where the veil between the mortal world and the divine was thin, guarded by trials that mirrored the journey of the soul from darkness into light. The path to the chalice was a labyrinth of challenges designed to prove the seeker's worth, a series of tests that demanded not just physical strength, but the strength of heart and the purity of intent. Jamie, ever the scholar of the arcane, recognized the symbolism woven into the lore, the echoes of ancient initiation rites, and the journey of the hero that transcended cultures and epochs. This quest was more than a search for a physical object. It was a pilgrimage into the heart of myth, a journey that would strip them to their core and challenge every belief they held. Together, Alex and Jamie delved deeper into the lore, piecing together the clues that would lead them to the chalice. They studied maps of ancient lands, deciphered riddles wrapped in allegories, and sought the wisdom of those few scholars who had tread the edges of myth and returned to tell the tale. Each piece of the puzzle brought them closer to their goal, but also served as a reminder of the daunting path that lay ahead. The decision to undertake the journey was not made lightly. Alex, weighed down by the burden of the curse, saw in the quest a chance for liberation, a way to shed the golden chains and reclaim a life untainted by magic. Jamie, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a fierce loyalty to their newfound friend, saw the quest as a once-in-a-lifetime adventure, a chance to live the myths they had spent a lifetime studying. As they prepared to step into the unknown, Alex and Jamie understood that the journey would change them in ways they could not yet fathom. The lore of Midas, with its warnings and promises, its tales of loss and redemption, was a map to a treasure far greater than the chalice itself. It was a guide to transformation, an invitation to confront the shadows within and emerge into the light. The night before their departure, under a sky jeweled with stars, Alex and Jamie stood at the crossroads of fate and free will, bound by a shared quest that transcended the bounds of time. The lore of Midas, once a distant legend, had become the beating heart of their journey, a story that was now theirs to complete. With resolve in their hearts and the ancient tales as their guide, they stepped forward into the darkness, towards the dawn that awaited them beyond the trials of the quest. Chapter 3: Breaking the Curse. With the early morning light casting a golden hue across the horizon, Alex and Jamie stood at the edge of the known world, their hearts beating a rhythm of anticipation and resolve. Before them lay a path shrouded in mystery, a journey that would test the very fabric of their beings. Armed with the lore of Midas and fueled by a glimmer of hope, they stepped into the unknown, the weight of their quest matched only by the strength of their friendship. The initial days of their journey were marked by a sense of wonder. The world, seen through the lens of their quest, revealed secrets and marvels that few had the privilege to witness. Ancient forests whispered tales of old, mountains stood as guardians of the forgotten, and rivers sang melodies of the earth's deep mysteries. Each step forward was a step into the tapestry of legend, where the line between the mythical and the real blurred into insignificance. Yet, as the novelty of the adventure gave way to the reality of the quest, Alex and Jamie faced challenges that mirrored the trials of Midas himself. Their resolve was tested by riddles wrapped in enigmas, each solution leading them deeper into the labyrinth of their quest. They encountered creatures that seemed to have stepped out of the myths, guardians of the secrets they sought, each demanding a tribute of wit, courage, or strength. The trials were not just physical, but emotional. The journey forced Alex and Jamie to confront their deepest fears and doubts. Alex grappled with the guilt and weight of the curse, the fear of what failure might mean, not just for them, but for all they held dear. Jamie, ever the pillar of strength, faced the challenge of supporting Alex while navigating their own uncertainties about the path they had chosen. Their friendship, the bond that had become their greatest strength, was tested as never before. The pressure of the quest, the constant danger, and the weight of their shared responsibility brought moments of tension, of misunderstanding. Yet, it was in these moments that the depth of their bond shone brightest. Apologies were made, forgiveness granted, and their resolve was forged stronger with each challenge they overcame together. As they journeyed through lands that seemed to exist out of time, encountering wonders and horrors alike, the lessons of the lore of Midas were ever present. They learned that the true curse was not the golden touch itself, but what it represented. The consequences of unchecked desire, the illusion of control over fate, and the misunderstanding of true value. The quest led them to the edge of themselves, to the point where they had to decide whether to push forward or turn back. With each trial they faced, the essence of their quest became clearer. It was not just about finding a chalice or reversing a curse. It was about the journey of transformation, about understanding the power of sacrifice and the true meaning of wealth. As they stood before the final trial, the barrier that guarded the way to the chalice, Alex and Jamie understood that the path they had chosen was no longer just their own. It was a path that echoed the trials of all who dared to dream, to seek, and to challenge the fate decreed by the gods. With hearts united and spirits buoyed by the trials they had overcome, they prepared to face the ultimate test, not as individuals, but as bearers of a legacy that transcended time, the legacy of those who dared to break the curse of Midas. Through the veil of the morning mist, Alex and Jamie ventured deeper into the heart of their quest, each step forward a descent into the trials that would test the very essence of their beings. The path they followed wound through landscapes that seemed to shift and change, mirroring the internal landscapes of their hearts and souls. It was here, in the liminal spaces between worlds, that the true trials of their journey began. The first trial emerged as a village frozen in time, its inhabitants caught in a moment of joy, all turned to gold. Here, Alex was confronted with a haunting reflection of their deepest fear, the potential for their curse to harm those they loved. The golden smiles of the statuesque villagers were a stark reminder of the price of uncontrolled desire, challenging Alex's moral compass and forcing them to confront the consequences of their actions. The trial was not just to navigate the village, but to understand the weight of the choices that led them here, to recognize the difference between temporary happiness and lasting fulfillment. As they journeyed on, the trials grew more personal, more introspective. A labyrinth of mirrors forced Alex to confront their own reflection, not just the physical manifestation, but the reflection of their inner self. Each mirror showed Alex not as they were, but as they could be, their potential for greatness alongside their capacity for destruction. This trial, a maze of self-reflection, challenged Alex's understanding of happiness, asking whether it was something to be found within or sought in the material world. Jamie, ever by Alex's side, faced their own trials, though different in nature, equally challenging to the soul. Their journey together had started as a quest for knowledge, for adventure, but had grown into something far more profound. Jamie's trial was to support Alex, not just as a friend but as a mirror to Alex's struggles, offering reflections of honesty, courage, and unconditional support. The most challenging trial, however, was one of sacrifice. Before them stood two paths, one paved with gold, leading to a future where Alex's curse could bring them untold wealth and power, but at the cost of solitude and eternal separation from human touch. The other, a humble path, fraught with challenges but rich with the promise of love, friendship, and genuine connection. This trial was the ultimate test of the true value of gold versus love and friendship, a choice between material wealth and the riches of the heart. Through these trials, Alex and Jamie were stripped of illusion, their journey revealing the core of their desires, fears, and dreams. Each challenge faced, each choice made, brought them closer not just to the end of their quest, but to a deeper understanding of themselves and each other. The trials of heart and soul were not barriers, but gateways, each one a step toward liberation from the golden curse. For Alex, the journey transformed the curse from a burden to bear into a lesson to be learned, a reminder that true happiness and fulfillment are found not in the gold that can be touched, but in the moments of connection, love, and friendship that touch the soul. As they emerged from the final trial, the landscape around them, a reflection of the journey within, Alex and Jamie understood that the trials had not changed the world, but had changed them. They were no longer merely travelers on a quest, but pilgrims on a pilgrimage of the heart. Their spirits forged in the trials they had faced, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. In the heart of a forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the air thrummed with unseen magic, Alex and Jamie found themselves standing before an altar that seemed as old as time itself. This was the place where the final trial would unfold, a trial that would demand more from Alex than any before. It was here, in the solemn silence of the forest, that the true power of sacrifice would be revealed. The altar, bathed in a light that seemed to emanate from within, bore inscriptions that told of the final choice. It was a choice that would determine the fate of Alex's curse, a choice between retaining the golden touch, with all its burdens and isolations, or relinquishing it for the chance to reclaim the warmth of human connection, the simple joy of touch untainted by gold. The decision seemed simple at first glance, but as the weight of the moment settled upon Alex's shoulders, the complexity of the choice became apparent. To keep the golden touch was to hold on to a part of themselves that had brought both wonder and despair, a power that had defined their existence for so long. Yet, to give it up was to step into the unknown, to trust in the value of what is truly precious: love, friendship, and the myriad connections that make life rich and meaningful. As Alex pondered the choice, Jamie stood by, a pillar of support yet silent, understanding that this was a decision Alex must make alone. The moments stretched, each second a lifetime of reflection on the journey that had brought them here, on the lessons learned, and the bonds formed. The power of sacrifice, Alex realized, lay not in the act of giving up but in the understanding of what one gains through loss. The true test was not of what Alex was willing to lose, but of what they valued most deeply. It was a lesson in the paradox of sacrifice, that sometimes it is only through surrendering what we hold most dear that we can truly possess it. With a heart heavy yet clear, Alex stepped forward, their decision made. They chose to relinquish the golden touch, to sacrifice the power that had set them apart in exchange for the chance to reconnect with the world in its most elemental and precious form. As their hands touched the altar, a light brighter than the sun burst forth, enveloping Alex in its warmth, a tangible expression of the magic at work. The transformation was immediate, and the golden touch, which had once flowed through Alex's veins like a river of molten light, receded, leaving behind a sensation of profound relief and an unaccustomed lightness of being. As the light faded, Alex felt a hand in theirs, warm and real. It was Jamie's hand, offering comfort and connection, a tangible reminder of what Alex had chosen: the warmth of human touch, the irreplaceable value of friendship and love. In that moment, Alex understood the true power of sacrifice. It was not a loss, but a transmutation, a turning of one form of wealth into another, far more precious. The greatest sacrifices, Alex realized, do not diminish us. They elevate us, transforming our burdens into bridges that reconnect us with the essential joys of life. As they stood together, hand in hand, Alex and Jamie knew that the journey had changed them in ways they could never have imagined. The curse was broken, not by magic alone, but by the power of sacrifice, by the willingness to let go of what was once considered indispensable in favor of what was truly valuable. This understanding, hard-won through trials and tribulation, was the most precious reward of their quest, a treasure far richer than any gold. The forest, with its whispering leaves and ancient secrets, opened to reveal a clearing where time itself seemed to stand still. In the center, shrouded in a light that pulsed with the heartbeats of the earth, stood the guardian of the artifact, a figure as old as the legends that spoke of the chalice, their presence a testament to the trials Alex and Jamie had overcome. This was the culmination of their journey, the moment where the path to breaking the curse would be revealed in its full, daunting scope. The guardian, ethereal yet formidable, regarded Alex with eyes that saw beyond the physical, piercing into the depths of their soul. "You have come far, Seeker," the guardian's voice echoed, not in the air, but in the minds of Alex and Jamie. "But the final test lies before you. To claim the chalice, to break the curse that binds your fate, you must prove your worth, not through strength or cunning, but through the purity of your intent and the depth of your understanding." The air around them thickened, the atmosphere charged with an anticipation that was almost tangible. The final challenge was not a battle of force, but a confrontation with the essence of their quest, the understanding of sacrifice, of value beyond gold, and the strength of the human spirit. The guardian stepped aside, revealing the chalice, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light, the air around it vibrating with the power of untold magic. But between Alex and the artifact lay a chasm, a physical manifestation of the final barrier to their goal. The chasm, dark and seemingly bottomless, was not merely a physical obstacle, but a symbolic one, representing the leap of faith required to break the curse. To cross this divide, the guardian intoned, "You must leave behind all that you have brought with you, save for the lessons learned and the bonds formed. This is a journey you must make alone, stripped of all but your resolve and your understanding of what truly matters." Alex turned to Jamie, their eyes locking in a silent exchange of encouragement and farewell. This final step was one Alex had to take alone, a testament to the journey that had started with a curse but had led to a profound transformation. Stepping to the edge of the chasm, Alex took a deep breath, the lessons of their journey swirling in their mind, the value of friendship, the understanding of true wealth, and the power of sacrifice. With a heart full of hope and a spirit lightened by the release of the golden touch, Alex stepped forward into the void. The sensation of falling was brief, replaced by an enveloping warmth, a feeling of being supported by the very air itself. As Alex emerged on the other side, the chasm behind them seemed to disappear, a final confirmation of the passage they had made from doubt to belief, from isolation to connection. The guardian nodded, a gesture of respect and acknowledgement. "You have proven your worth, Seeker. The chalice is yours, not as a trophy, but as a symbol of your journey, of the sacrifices made and the lessons learned. Use it well, to break the curse, and to remember the journey that brought you here." As Alex reached for the chalice, their fingers brushing against the cool metal, a surge of energy coursed through them, a confluence of magic and spirit that spoke of curses lifted and new beginnings. The weight of the golden touch, once a heavy mantle, lifted, replaced by a sense of freedom, of possibilities once again open and untainted by fear. The guardian's form began to fade, their task complete, leaving behind a whisper on the wind, a reminder of the journey's end and the new paths waiting to be explored. Alex turned, the chalice in hand, to see Jamie approaching, their smile a beacon in the dim light of the clearing, a symbol of the enduring power of friendship and the journey they had shared. In the aftermath of the final challenge, as the light of dawn began to pierce the veil of the forest, Alex and Jamie found themselves standing at the threshold of a new beginning. The chalice, once an object of legend, now lay in Alex's hands, its surface warm with the promise of liberation. The curse, a shadow that had loomed over Alex's life, was about to be lifted, not through magic alone, but through the power of sacrifice, courage, and a heart that had been purified by the trials of their journey. With Jamie by their side, Alex raised the chalice, its glow illuminating their faces with a soft, golden light. The air around them hummed with energy, the forest itself bearing witness to the moment of transformation. As Alex's lips touched the rim of the chalice, a silence fell, profound and encompassing, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The moment the water from the chalice touched Alex's lip, a surge of warmth spread through their body, a wave of energy that coursed through their veins, seeking out the remnants of the golden touch and washing them away. It was as if the very essence of their being was being cleansed, the curse unraveled by the purity of their intent and the strength of their sacrifices. As the light from the chalice faded, Alex felt a change, subtle yet profound. Their touch, once the source of so much fear and isolation, was restored to its natural state. The relief that washed over them was indescribable, a release from the chains that had bound them, a return to the simple joy of human connection that had been lost to them. But the transformation went deeper than the lifting of the curse. Alex, through the journey they had undertaken, had been changed in ways that were irrevocable. The trials they had faced, the choices they had made, and the bonds they had formed had reshaped their understanding of themselves and the world around them. They had learned the value of true wealth, not as gold, but as love, friendship, and the countless small moments of connection that make life rich and meaningful. Jamie, witnessing the transformation, saw not just the lifting of a curse, but the emergence of a new Alex, a person who had been forged in the fires of trial and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The bond between them, strengthened by the shared journey and the trials they had overcome together, was a testament to the power of friendship and the indomitable spirit of the human heart. As they walked out of the forest, the chalice in hand, the world seemed to welcome them with open arms. The sun, rising above the horizon, bathed them in light, a symbol of the dawn of a new day, of new beginnings. Alex, with a touch restored and a heart transformed, stepped into this new world with a sense of hope and a deep gratitude for the journey that had brought them here. The curse was lifted, but the lessons it had taught them would remain a guiding light for the path ahead. Alex and Jamie, their friendship a beacon of strength, faced the future not with fear, but with an open heart, ready to embrace whatever adventures lay ahead, grounded in the knowledge that the greatest treasures are found not in wealth or power, but in the love and connection we share with those who journey with us. As Alex and Jamie emerged from the embrace of the ancient forest, the world around them seemed to pulse with a vibrancy and warmth that felt new, yet familiar. The curse that had once defined the contours of Alex's existence was lifted, leaving behind a landscape of possibilities that stretched out, inviting and unbounded. Returning to normal life, Alex discovered a profound joy in the simple, unremarkable moments that compose the fabric of daily existence. Moments once overshadowed by the fear and isolation of the golden touch. The warmth of the sun on their skin, the sensation of cool water, the texture of grass underfoot. Each experience was a rediscovery, a celebration of the senses that had been denied for so long. But above all, it was the touch of another, the simple act of holding Jamie's hand, that resonated with the deepest joy. It was a connection unmarred by fear, a touch that spoke of trust, friendship, and a shared journey through darkness into light. In the days that followed their return, Alex found themselves drawn to the human connections that had once been sources of deep anxiety. Family meals became occasions for laughter and storytelling. The shared space around the table, a symbol of unity and belonging. Friends, once kept at a distance, were now greeted with embraces, the warmth of their presence a reminder of the journey Alex had undertaken to reclaim these moments. The lessons of the curse, rather than fading into the background, became the foundation upon which Alex built their new life. The understanding that true value lay not in the accumulation of wealth, but in the richness of connection. The realization that happiness was found not in what one could control, but in what one could share. These truths shaped Alex's approach to the world, guiding their decisions and coloring their relationships with a depth of gratitude and understanding. Jamie, ever the steadfast companion, shared in this new beginning. Their friendship, forged in the crucible of their quest, had evolved into something deeper, a bond that transcended the ordinary. Together, they embarked on a new chapter, not as heroes of a bygone adventure, but as partners in a life rich with the promise of discovery and growth. The community around them, witnessing the transformation in Alex, was drawn to the light of their spirit. Alex's story, once a cautionary tale of a curse born, became a testament to the power of human resilience, courage, and the capacity for change. It was a story that inspired, a reminder that even the deepest darkness could be traversed with the help of a friend, that every ending was also a beginning. As Alex and Jamie navigated this new world, they did so with a sense of purpose and joy. They found ways to share the lessons of their journey, speaking at gatherings, volunteering within their community, and simply being present for those who struggled with their own burdens. Their lives became a living narrative, a story that continued to unfold with each act of kindness, each moment of connection. The chalice, the artifact that had been the key to breaking the curse, found a place in their home, not as a trophy, but as a symbol of their journey, a journey that had taught them the impermanence of material wealth and the enduring value of love and friendship. It was a reminder of what they had overcome and a beacon for the future they were building together. In this new beginning, Alex and Jamie discovered the true magic of life, not in ancient curses or mystical artifacts, but in the everyday miracles of love, friendship, and the simple, unbreakable connections that bind us together. Their story, a tale of transformation and redemption, continued to echo a melody of hope and renewal for all who heard it, a song of a new beginning, grounded in the lessons learned from the curse and illuminated by the joy of a touch restored.